Good morning, boys and girls. Today, for our last reading lesson for this story, we are going to be starting off like we did yesterday by answering the question that we ended with yesterday. So yesterday, I asked you in your Google slide assignments to respond to the question, how do people feel about Elizabeth's ideas? And it says reread page 444 and 445 to find out. So we're going to go back into the page. Remember, it's always important when you have a question that you go back into the page and you look for evidence. This question tells us exactly where to go to find that evidence on page 444 and 445. So we're going to go back. And I circled my evidence here. Okay, so we are looking for how did people feel about Elizabeth's ideas. So it says, this idea was shocking, so huge, so daring, Elizabeth's friends gasped out loud. If they were flabbergasted, what would other people think? So her friends thought this idea was shocking and huge, meaning that it was a big idea, and that it was also so daring that her friends gasped out loud. When she said that, I can see the picture right here. The ladies are putting their hands over their hearts and they're like, oh my goodness, did she really just say that? So they thought it was shocking and daring. And then over here on this page, it said even her Henry thought she had gone too far. So we are looking for what other people thought and how they feel about Elizabeth's ideas. Her friends thought it was shocking and daring. Her husband thought she had gone too far. All right, boys and girls, as we finish this story today, we are going to focus on our objective. I can identify the author's point of view and use evidence from the text to support. So as we are finishing this story today, I need you guys to think about what is the author's point of view in this story. And we are going to use evidence to support our opinion of the point of view. We are going to continue reading on page 446. But on July 19th, 1848, when Elizabeth arrived at the meeting place, she saw for herself that she hadn't. The small church in Seneca Falls, New York, was filled with hundreds of people. Remember, it said on the previous page, that was a little confusing for me. Her husband thought she had gone too far. But when she arrived at the meeting place, she saw for herself that she hadn't. I wonder what that means. How does she know that she didn't go too far just by arriving at this place? The small church in Seneca Falls, New York, was filled with hundreds of people. Maybe they think the same thing that she did, and that's why they are all there. Elizabeth read aloud what she and a few of the women had written together. Their Declaration of Rights and Sentiments challenged the idea from the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. In the Declaration of Independence, boys and girls, it says all men are created equal. And it does not say women. When she was finished, she looked into the faces of the crowd and waited. The room was silent. Then a rumbling began. It grew louder and louder and louder as people argued whether or not women should be allowed to vote. Wow, what a moment this paragraph is describing. After she was finished speaking, the room was silent. And then eventually, there was talking and arguing, and they were talking about whether women should have the right to vote. That's a really good paragraph, and it paints a really good picture of what's happening in the room at the time that Elizabeth gave her speech. I crossed out this, boys and girls, because we're not going to do this question today. Word of the meeting spread like wildfire. Newspapers across the country scolded Elizabeth for her boldness. So that she did a very brave and daring thing, and they were scolding her for it, like saying, you shouldn't do that. But other women joined in her battle. The idea of women having the right to vote began to buzz in the ears of people from Maine, which is way up here, all the way to California. Elizabeth had tossed a stone in the water, and the ripples grew wider and wider. Many said Elizabeth must be stopped, but she was unstoppable. She changed America forever. Boys and girls, look at that last sentence. She changed America forever. Do you think that that would be the author's point of view of Elizabeth Cady Stanton? I wonder if that would be something that we would want to put on our chart today. So for today's reading assignment on slides, you are going to come up with the author's point of view, and you are going to use evidence from the text to support your point of view. The evidence are going to be called details, okay, boys and girls? And I think that I'm going to use this line. She changed America forever, because I think that sums up exactly what the author thinks about Elizabeth Cady Stanton. All right, boys and girls, so if you need to go back and reread this story, we have parts 1, 2, and 3 available in your assignments for this week. You can always go back and reread them if you need to do that in order to find evidence. And as a matter of fact, I highly recommend that you do that, because it's hard to come up with specific evidence if you're not looking at the text. This story is also available on Wonders. If you search Elizabeth Leads the Way, you will find it if you need to look at the whole complete story. I also assigned it to you on there, okay? So good luck, boys and